Benjamin Andrew Stokes. When the world starts doubting him, he just goes into full-blown Charizard mode. Absolutely phenomenal. And this match, it was not won by playing baseball, it was won protesting it. This is my review of Day 5 and this amazing, memorable, historic test match. Let's just first take a look at this picture from Geo Hotstar, and this is what it's all about, guys. Test cricket, mentally, emotionally, physically draining, exhausted. For 5 days, they battled, and they battled hard. I think India will feel, proud, but also maybe a little bit disappointed. There were so many moments in this match where, again, they were ahead, but they just let it all go. I think somebody told me just now there was like 25 buys or something. I don't know how many extras. We'll put it up here for you. In that match, it's a lot. Again, I feel like some of them came from Siraj, quite a few. Again, so I thought he bowled really well, but sometimes he just tries too hard. So then these kind of things happen. He was great at the end there with Bumrah. And Jadeja, an absolute warrior. He is the definition of a warrior. He's the kind of guy where, if you have to have somebody who's going to fight for your life, or somebody that you want to take into battle, Jadeja, Ravindra Jadeja is the man. But yeah, Rishabh Pant's run out, was that really necessary? It's just all of these unnecessary things. KL Rahul, trying to get to the 100. And that's how the cricket karma sometimes works, is that the moment you did that thing that was a mistake, it turns into another mistake, which was KL's lapse of concentration and that ball from Bashir. The drop catches, guys, 90 runs. Ollie Pope and Jamie Smith, 90 runs. In the context of this game, low scoring match, bowling friendly pitch, 90 runs is a lot. Now we can take it even further to that overindulging moment of wanting to change that ball, that rock, that peach that Jasprit Bumrah was absolutely creating havoc with. He was just running through England. I think he was going on 3 for 9 or something, were his figures. And then some of you said that he actually, I think it was Sanjay Manyakar. Sorry, guys. A lot of people are fans. Some people are not fans of him. I kind of like what he said, and I think he said something along the lines of Bumrah was off the field and then that decision was made. Siraj wasn't taking wickets at the other end, but just because you're not taking wickets doesn't mean that you're not doing your job. Okay, if the guy at the other end is taking wickets, it means that you're doing a good job. You're giving pressure from your end. Maybe the wickets column doesn't reflect good for you, but it's a partnership, right? So again, that I said this a few days ago and people didn't really think, some of you guys argued and stuff. That was probably the biggest moment of the match, was that moment. Okay, because you could have gotten England out for, that's 118 runs again. So it's just all of these big moments. I think India can feel very proud, but guys, England just really, they just keep staying in the match and you also keep opening doors for them. But they were phenomenal in this match. What a difference Jofra Archer made, because this entire series I've been hampering on about, England not having good enough tactics for me against the left-handed batters of India. And India, you've got quite a few of them, right? That's why last night I thought to myself, I don't know how much Jofra is going to bowl, but he's a real issue for you guys. And I thought that maybe with your left-handed batters, you stand more of a chance than people maybe think, because people were giving it more towards England because of the bowling friendliness about the pitch. But yeah, we'll get to the batting now. But Jofra Archer, great average. He's a real weapon against left-handed batters. And for this entire series, nobody was really able to put Rishabh Pant under pressure. He always gave his wicket away, but here comes Jofra Archer. It had to always be a ball like that to completely bamboozle Rishabh Pant. The first time that he was really, really beaten in this entire test series. So that was a huge moment as well in the match. Of course, the sledging, the Shubman Gill thing, we're not going to talk about that again. But yeah, I don't know. I do think it affected his batting. I feel a bit down for him because he looks a bit like he looks almost as if he feels as though he let the team down. I don't know, maybe that's just me seeing something. What are your guys' thoughts? He looks a bit down to me. Washington Sundar was amazing. This is why I'm talking about Manchester now, because I'm thinking to myself, Gigi now, right, is going to have to make a big decision. It's 2-1. It's a must-win game, unless it's a draw, because I'm already seeing the weather for Manchester, guys, and it doesn't look that bloody great, to be honest. But that means you're going to need to have trump cards up your sleeve if it's going to be a shortened match. So is it time to bring in Kuldeep Yadav? Because for me, it's like it's now or never. It should have been probably earlier, right? We think of that first test match that England won. If you had a Kuldeep Yadav there, I'm still keen for Ashdeep Singh to come in. But let's just focus on England here for a moment. Brighton Cast last night was amazing. England had to have been so tempted to throw in Brighton Cast this morning, because he was by far the most threatening bowler last night. He just kept on hitting the right lines, the right lengths at that. Did he bowl from the nursery end? I think so. And last night, or maybe he didn't. Guys, help me. So many things have happened. Last night, Jofra Archer didn't have a very good spell, but he was bowling from the nursery end. His end is the pavilion end. And that catch as well, that's the other thing. We speak about India's drop catches. The catch of Harry Brook, the catch from Jofra Archer today. I mean, that was just phenomenal as well. So in the previous match, I was like, India completely out-bowled, out-batted, out-fielded England, and I felt as though that's what happened here in this test match. It was a complete flip around. But England were great, and Ben Stokes, like I just said, Charizard, I mean, absolute beast. How many overs did he bowl today? Like a 9-over spell, and then what, a 10? I mean, how do you do that? You know, he's just one of those guys that if the backs are against the wall, or if the team really needs him, he just stands up. He just goes into a kind of mode where pain does not exist in his vocabulary. Crazy, crazy, amazing. And yes, the last thing I want to just say, everybody spoke about intent. You know, you've got a couple of legend Sangakkara, you know, for me. He said that he wanted India to be a bit more attacking. But yesterday, we saw how amazing Zach Crawley was. He deserves some credit, I think, in my opinion. He was so good against Bumrah in absolute beast mode. Okay, I think he was like, 22 or 49, 50 or something like that. And then he went for it, let's say. Went for it, intent for it, you know, sort of thing. And then he got caught. You know, if he really looked like the type of guy that could make a 50 in that moment, on that pitch, in the toughness of it all. And then Ben Duckett, I mean, no excuse for that. Yeah. My cat just hit my tripod. Sorry. Ben Duckett, no excuse for that. You know, I spoke about it yesterday. He's going to have to learn how to adapt, or he will be annihilated in Australia. He was one of the players that I was most excited for this series, but he's just not been living up to expectation. You can, by all means, you can attack, but there's a moment for that, isn't there? Not when Bumrah and Siraj are running in with that new ball. When the ball gets softer, I just want him sometimes to play time. But if that's not what he's going to do, then I just wonder what's going to happen to him in Australia. Again, Jacob Bethel, difficult because Ollie Pope is vice captain. But it all came down to Joe Root and Ben Stokes, you know, the anti-Baz ballers. They just, when the moment doesn't call for it, obviously if the team is ahead, but if they're in the weeds, Ben Stokes and Joe Root, they're going to play the type of innings that they played here. Look at this partnership. And that was the difference, because all India really needed was one batter to stand with Ravindra Jadeja, and it could have been a different result. A lot of what ifs, should have, nothing you can do about it now. You were part of one of the most amazing test matches ever. Definitely ever. It was phenomenal. It's 5 days. We've had 3 5-day test matches now. I thought it was amazing. What were some of your highlights of the match? I think India can go to Manchester. Yes, they've never won there before. But if you're going to be brave and you're going to select the right type of bowlers, because I also wondered to myself, I don't know if he's going to make a change, but you need to get Kuldeep in there for sure. With the way that the Indian spinners have been bowling, how effective they've been, how threatening they've been, definitely at Manchester, it's going to be absolutely massive. But India have to tie up these small mistakes. England were absolutely phenomenal. It's tough to say deserved winners, but they didn't make the type of mistakes that India made. And when you did make them, England made sure as hell sure that they were going to pounce on them. You know, Pope ended up making runs from that drop catch. Jamie Smith made runs off that drop catch. So when you open the door for him, when Rishabh Pant was run out, KL Rahul, you know, England, whenever you give them something, they take more. So you've got to have to tie it up from your end. Very excited for Manchester, and the weather has been so amazing. Can we just pray that Manchester will be the same? What were your thoughts?